The geographical makeup of the southern end of the African continent is not conducive to the easy construction of transport routes. The early road and railway engineers and builders faced complex problems created by the fact that the entire subcontinent of South Africa consists of comparatively narrow coastal plains, cut and shaped by a vast number of rivers which spring from the almost unbroken barrier of mountains which rise behind these plains. Construction of rail links to the interior of South Africa meant that railway lines had to fight a way over the mountain barrier, leading to spectacular climbs like the Soloris Pass, the Montague Pass, the Hex River Pass, and the Van Rieenen Pass with its 9 tunnels which span a distance of only 12 kilometers. On the other hand, lines across the coastal plains have the mountains as an ever-present backdrop as they wind and dip and climb through the valleys and gorges of the rivers. The need to beat the physical obstacles of the country led directly to the introduction of 2 major facets of the railways in these parts. The first being the use of 3-foot 6-inch rail gauge to reduce the engineering requirements of construction, and, in the later days of steam power, the major use of articulated locomotives, particularly of the Garret type, to provide the huge power requirement and the versatility to negotiate very sharp curves on these mountainous sections. This video, the first of a 2-part series entitled Mountain Vistas, sets out to portray some of the mountain passes and mountain scenery enjoyed during recent rail tours in South Africa as part of the Steam Renaissance documentary we call Return of Steam. Mountain Vistas Part 1 deals with mountain passes in the Western Cape region, such as the Soloris and Hohoek passes on the Caledon line, Mitchell's Pass on the Ceres line, Moers Bank between Worcester and Robertson, and also the spectacular mountain scenery skirting the Cape Main Line between Cape Town and Adorns. In our first sequence, GF2401 and GO2575, double-heading a Union Limited Steam Safari Special on the Caledon line, approach Somerset West. In the background, we see False Bay with the formidable Hottentots Holland Mountains rising up from the bay as the train steams effortlessly in an easterly direction along the level coastal plain. However, on reaching Soloris Pass siding, the railway line starts an arduous ascent up the Hottentots Holland Mountains via the Soloris Pass. The pass, with its 1 in 40 uncompensated grades, was constructed by George Pauling and climbed some 225 meters in the 15-kilometer to the tunnel, which is at the summit. In the lower section of the pass, the railway line zigzags through tight curves, whilst winding its way through the blue gum plantations for about 10 kilometers. This section of the line has always been difficult to operate, and double heading and banking were often resorted to. After initially winding its way through plantations, the line then emerges along the mountainside from which excellent views over False Bay and the surrounding areas are obtained. July of 1899 saw the Cape Government Railways start on the construction of a line over the Hottentots Holland Range. This was in response to pressure brought to bear by the extensive farming communities in the valleys and highlands in the area beyond the mountain barrier, known as the Oeverberg, which means across the mountain. Built under difficult circumstances during the height of the Anglo-Boer War, with the resultant shortages in men and material, the Soloris Pass was, nevertheless, completed within 2 years, a truly magnificent feat of engineering. Once through the summit tunnel, the line continually descends through pine plantations, dropping 140 meters over the 12-kilometer distance to the Palmit River, a short distance from Elgin. From Elgin, once an important locomotive servicing stop, the railway line climbs rapidly, reaching 1 in 40 gradients less than a kilometer out of the station. The steep climb persists as the line winds its way along the mountain plateau, passing through extensive fruit orchards, and culminates in another 3 kilometers of a 1 in 40 gradient into Groenrug, a small siding 10 kilometers out of Elgin. Along this section, we see spectacular mountain views formed by the backdrop of the Groenland Mountains, which are part of the Oeverberg range. From Groenrug, the line gradually descends to Hohoek, with its beautiful scenery and the famous Hohoek Inn, where train passengers of bygone days made a lengthy stop for a memorable lunch. From the high-lying fruit-growing areas along the mountain plateau, the line continues to Caledon, dropping steeply through the valley of the Jakkals River via Hohoek Pass to reach Bot River, which has an elevation of only 70 meters above sea level. This section is divided into 3 sequences, each concentrating on different aspects of the famous Hohoek Pass. Furthermore, 3 different combinations of motive power with various consists are shown working up the pass. In the first sequence, we concentrate mainly on the topographical nature of the lower reaches of the pass. Here we see GF 2401 departing from the Bot River station with a steam loco safaris tourist train in June 1996. Immediately on leaving the station, Cape Town-bound trains are faced with a long, grueling climb into the pass at the ruling gradient of 1 in 40. In the 9.5 kilometers to Hohoek siding, the railway line climbs from an altitude of only 70 meters at Bot River Station, reaching a height of some 283 meters. This section, between Hohoek and Bot River, was constructed during the height of the Anglo-Boer War, between October 1900 and the end of 1901 by George Pauling under extremely trying circumstances. Nevertheless, he accomplished wonders, finishing the pass in 1 year and 3 months, and the entire line to Caledon was completed by the 31st of October 1902, having started in July 1899. In this sequence, we concentrate on the midsections of the Hohoek Pass. Here we pick up 19D, number 3321, with a mixed consist crossing the lower bridge over the Jakkals River. The midsection of the pass is regarded as the most scenic and interesting and includes two bridges over the Jakkals River, about 1 kilometer apart, separated by a short, deep cutting and a tight curve. These bridges and the intervening section have become well-known photographic spots for rail enthusiasts over the years. A head-on view of the 19D crossing the upper bridge makes a dramatic shot with the Hohoek Mountains in the background. Here we have a different angle of the 19D crossing the upper bridge and taking the long curve which leads to the final climb up the pass. We also see that the railway line parallels the old toll road, which can be seen on the right side of the line. This particular scene was taken from a ridge approximately 200 meters above the line and gives a good bird's eye view perspective of the midsection of the Hohoek Pass. In the final sequence dealing with the Hohoek Pass, virtually the entire pass is covered. This was made possible due to a huge mountain fire which occurred in the summer of 1996, clearing out most of the vegetation in the mid and upper regions. Further, the cleaning of bush in the lower section opened up the entire line, making photography suitable throughout the pass. From a copy which overlooks the lower section of the pass, we follow a double head combination made up of GF number 2401 and GO 2575, hauling a Union Limited Safari Special, winding its way towards the summit. In the background, you see the wheat fields on the bottom of the plains some distance below. The train, having crossed the lower bridge over the Jakkals River, exits the deep cutting on the approach to the upper bridge. Here, we observe the train crossing the upper bridge and see the dramatic effect of the 1996 fire, which left the entire bridge visible due to the destruction of the thick vegetation in the vicinity. A head-on view of the double-head combination approaching and crossing the upper bridge shows spectacular scenic views of the pass, with the Hooghoek Mountains and the Bevianskrans in the background. From the upper bridge, the line snakes its way up the hillside above the dry course of the upper reaches of the Jakhals River as it heads for Hooghoek Siding. The exhaust bark of the locomotives seemed to quicken and intensify in anticipation as the last few kilometers of the climb, the summit at Hooghoek Siding, are encountered. An early morning departure sees a Union Limited safari train leaving Worsley on the Ceres branch with the 800-meter high Waterfalls Mountains in the background. The train is powered by a double-head 19D combination. The pilot locomotive is a square tender 19D number 3322, which was converted from a coal-burning engine to an oil burner in 1994. The second locomotive, Sister 19D, number 3321, is a conventional coal burner, fitted with a torpedo-shaped Vanderbilt tender. The short line to Ceres includes the breathtaking Mitchell's Pass, which climbs some 233 meters in its 26 kilometers. The pass winds its way above the course of the Dwars River, running through the valley formed between the majestic Witzenberg and Skurveberg mountain ranges. Although Mitchell's Pass was initially surveyed as early as 1899, the final survey was carried out in 1906 by George Shelley. However, building only commenced early in 1911, with the contract being awarded to Edward Warren, a private contractor. Once begun, construction of the pass was rapid, and on the 20th of May, 1912, the line to Ceres was opened. Near the top of the climb, the line passes close to the river before entering the summit tunnel, which is the gateway into the town of Ceres and the fertile Warmbokkenveld plateau. Here we see the train belting it out on the level section between Ceres and Prince Alfred Hamlet. This 6-kilometer extension of the line from Ceres to the village of Prince Alfred Hamlet, so named after Queen Victoria's second son, was opened in 1929 with the purpose of gaining better access to the lucrative fruit farms in the district. The spectacular mountain ranges which surround the plateau and the village make a magnificent scenic backdrop as the locomotives are turned on the triangle at Prince Alfred Hamlet for the return run. With the Gedo and Waarboom mountains towering in the distance, the train lazily heads away from Prince Alfred Hamlet on its return trip. Here the snow on the peaks of the Hex River Mountains provide a picturesque background as the 19Ds exit the tunnel and head down the pass for Wolseley. After a beautiful winter's day, grey skies close in over the high peaks which surround Wolseley as the train coasts into town. On a cold, frosty morning, just before sunrise, we pick up the 16th class double-head combination with a Union Limited safari train making a fine sight as they leave Robertson for Worcester. Class 16DA, number 879, is piloting 16D, number 860. The line to Worcester passes through the beautiful Breda River Valley with its vineyards and fruit orchards, and then climbs over the foothills of the Langeberg Range via the well-known Mowers Bank, with its long climb almost invariably at the ruling gradient of 1 in 40. Here we see the 16th class combination doing a sunrise photo run past at the well-known La Colline level crossing about 4 kilometers west of Robertson. These run pasts are an important feature of steam safaris and give passengers several opportunities to photograph working locomotives at scenic locations from the line side. For many passengers, photo run pasts are the main reason for undertaking steam rail tours. With the Langeberg mountain range as backdrop, the 216s start the deceptively hard westbound climb up Mowers Bank from Longvlei Siding to the summit at Mowers Siding. The line between Worcester and Ashton came into existence as a result of a strong lobby from wine farmers in the Breda River Valley and the commercial community of the Cape, who saw this area as an excellent unexploited market. In 1883, the Cape Parliament authorized the construction of the 67-kilometer railway line from Worcester via Robertson to Roodeval, which was later known as Ashton. Further, the Cape government preferred that the line be built by a private company because of its heavy commitment to the building of the 3 railway lines to the north from Cape Town, Port Elizabeth and East London. As a result, the London-based company Cape Central Railway Limited was formed and construction commenced in 1884 under John Munro, the company contractor. However, after many delays, the line to Robertson was eventually completed in April 1887 and finally to Ashton in September of the same year. Another photo run past just below the summit gives passengers a further chance to catch a double-head combination in some magnificent mountain scenery as the early morning sun plays on beautiful smoke effects from the 2 Pacifics. Having topped the bank and dropped down the less severe east bank, our train thunders along towards Ney's Siding, which is an area well known for its wine production. Beyond Ney, the line runs almost dead straight and level to Worcester, and in our final sequence on this line, our train nears the town with some midwinter snow highlighting the distant Hex River Mountains. In the final section of this documentary, we cover various scenes of the Cape Main Line as far as to Doorns. This line offers, in its own right, some of the finest mountain scenery in the Western Cape. Here we observe, on a bright sunny winter's morning, double-head 19Ds hauling the Rovos Rail luxury train in its dark green and cream livery out of Cape Town to Paarl. Towering in the background, we see mighty Table Mountain, with its distinctive flat top rising some 1,000 meters above the city, which makes Cape Town one of the most unique cities in the world. In order to bypass the congestion of the local suburban traffic, the train is diverted to Belleville via the Monte Vista Loop line, which was opened in 1979. This line links up at Belleville with a direct main line through Muldersvlei, which originally opened in 1876. From Muldersvlei to Paarl, the route followed is via the old line to Wellington, which came into operation in 1874. As the 19Ds thunder along with their heavy load of 21 coaches towards Muldersvlei, we see the beautiful purple hue of the distant mountains, with the higher peaks highlighted with a light powdering of snow. With the imposing Witzenberg Mountains in the background, we pick up 19D number 3322 at Artois, with a day ramble on its return to Ceres. The lazy mood of a sunny winter's afternoon appears to be reflected by the locomotive as it gently coasts through the station on the way back to Cape Town. Having just exited from the Nuwe Kloof Pass, we now see a spirited display of the 19D on the level section between Gouda and Voorvlei sidings. In the background, the late afternoon sun plays on the towering Voorvlei mountains, giving a picturesque display of light and shade. As the train heads towards Malang siding, the purple hue of the distant Voorvlei and Elandskloof mountain ranges and the golden harvested wheat fields make a spectacular Cape scene. In the last sequence, dealing with the Cape Main Line, we covered the section from Wellington to De Doorns. Hauling a Union Limited steam safari train, oil-burning 25 NC number 3417 takes the long climb out of Wellington in the direction of Worcester. The narrow gorge, which runs between the Ubiqua and Voorvlei mountains, originally known as Tolbachkloof, but later renamed Nuwe Kloof, is the first major barrier which confronts railway traffic after leaving Cape Town. The line through the kloof was built by Thomas Bain in 1875, and the entire line to Worcester was completed in 1876. As the train speeds along, it is dwarfed by the Baai Mountains, and particularly the 800-meter high Mosterd's Hoek Peak in the background. With the last rays of the sun catching the peaks of the Hex River Mountains, number 3417 speeds through sand hills and into the Hex River Valley at full throttle on its way north.